So let's talk about sexual discipline and how it will basically change your life because it changed mine. So one thing I'll say is that I'm making this video because one, I wished I had a video like this, right, much sooner in my life. Right. I wish somebody had given me the ideas because I have tried to stop sexual indiscipline for years. I will stop, start, stop, start. So I genuinely believe that this works for me and it should work for you because that actually works for people who have actually coached in the past. So hopefully it works for you. The first time I was exposed to adult content was me at the age of 9. At the age of 9, I was almost 10. I was approaching 10, and I was going for like my exams into high school. And I got with my uncle to his place. So in his room, I was in his room the afternoon before the exam, and under his bed was the particular book. Out of curiosity, I picked up this book, and I could see a man and a woman completely naked doing something. Now, I couldn't tell what they were doing, right? Because then it was not really. I couldn't tell what they were doing because it was image based. I mean, I was a complete retard when I was much younger. So I just knew that I had this reaction in my body, right? And it became interesting to me because something was keeping me glued to the book. I couldn't tell, but I kept on flipping the pages. Fast forward to decades later, right? A decade later, slightly over a decade, and I think I've been able to overcome it. Now, I've been thinking, how the fuck did I wait a decade to fully overcome it? Is because the real advice out there does not really work for people. The advice you see out there with those hyper edited videos, these videos they don't really give you something deep. They give you the shallow ideas because they are trying to rake in views. But me, I'm trying to help you, and that's why everything you are going to hear in this video is going to be something that again you have to practice every single thing. It's not just one idea; it's every single thing. And by the way, by the end of this video, one thing I will guarantee you is that the more sexual discipline you become, the more women want to be with you. Bro, that thing, something that I wish somebody had told me much earlier. But let's look at why. So the major reason most advice around sexual discipline doesn't work is the same reason most advice around discipline doesn't work in the first place. Because there's this major part about indiscipline that no one talks about. Is us feeling bad. You see, it's okay to be disciplined when you're feeling good, but when you feel bad, think about it. That is how most addictions come about. That is why when you try to break any addiction, right? These low emotions, stress, boredom, loneliness, are things that will cause you to relapse, no matter how tough you are. If you feel super stressed, no matter how disciplined you are, you're going into some form of bad habit. And I tell you that the habit you pick while you are feeling super stressed and bored are very important because those two emotions, those activities you do while you're stressed and bored, they form your addiction. So what that means is, again, and loneliness. If you don't tackle those, if you don't keep your stress and your boredom in check, right, you're going to have a hard time discussing any idea in this video. Now, you have the low emotions, your stress, boredom, loneliness. On the other hand, right, we also have the fact that for some weird reason, sex has been weaponized. I use the word weaponized to addict you, to make you feel empty, to make you feel lonely, to keep you distracted. I'll tell you as a young man today, your greatest problem is actually distractions. Your greatest problems. Because the moment you take out distractions, guess what? Automatically, your mood changes. You have a drive, you have ambition, you're more attractive, you're more confident with women, right? And the last part about the reason why you lack sexual discipline is because you have no mission, you have no direction in life. And when you have no direction, when you have no mission, guess what? It's easy for people to inject ideas in your head because you don't have anything you're doing with your head. If you have something you're doing with your head, guess what? It's more difficult. If you have the way you're channeling your energy to, you'll be much more disciplined, you'll be much more driven, you'll be much more ambitious, right? So what should you do? Start with fucking having a purpose. Start with having a mission. Have something that your mind is driving towards. Because if you don't have that, there is nothing that I will tell you in this video that would even make any sense to you. Because it may make sense to you right now, but the moment you take up those other ideas, but you have no goal you're working towards, even though it's a monetary goal, even though it's a goal that you did not choose for yourself, just having a goal itself makes your mind operate different from the rest of the other people's minds. And that's the harsh truth, right? If you don't work your mind, guess what? You'll be fully distracted. You'll be in a place of full on, what's that word? What should I even say? You'll be in a no man's land basically, nothing to show for yourself, right? So when you have a mission, one other thing you should look out for is your environment. When you have a goal, guess what? When you have a goal, it's easier for you to create an environment that would help you reach that goal. So when I say your environment, there are two major things you should look out for, right? Your triggers. What are the things that trigger you to have these sexual indisciplined thoughts? What are those things? They're majorly what? Social media content, ads, social media content, even your friends, right? The friends you hang around. These guys can inject thoughts into your head. The gym these days has been so fucking toxic, right? Where, to be very, very honest, and there's nothing we can do there because we're basically saying women dress indecently to the gym. At this point, bro, there's almost nowhere you will go to in this world that wouldn't give you an idea of something that's sexual indiscipline. There's nowhere. Video games, social media, even the gym. So what should you do? Right. Limit your exposure to these things. Set boundaries with your phone. Right now, my phone is not with me because I think after this I have to work with some clients. Right. Keep your phone aside. Again, if you're to use social media, if you have a goal, trust me, social media works in a way that it tries to help you achieve what you're trying to achieve for yourself. So if you have a goal, right, and these guys want to addict you with content, why don't they addict you with content that helps you achieve your goal? If you go to my Instagram feed, right, I really wish I had my phone with me. What most likely is what? MMA content, business content, relationship content, life coaching content. Simply because these are things I am actively searching for. But when you have a goal, guess what? You see yourself curating your feed to match the goal. So if you look at your Instagram right now and it's suggesting baddies to you, just know automatically that you have a problem. That is exactly what you'll be searching for a while. So pick up your any social media app you use and start looking for things along the lines of your goal. That is why everything starts with a fucking goal. Everything starts with a fucking goal. So check your environment, look at the things that trigger you sexually, check your stress levels. Another tip I'll give to you is be mindful. Practice fucking meditation. Right? Because the irony is, meditation is about the most powerful habit you can ever have as a man today. Because it feels like every area of life, food, basically your mind is being weaponized against you. Is that crazy? Yes, your mind is being weaponized against you. But practicing mindfulness will completely change the game for you. Right? Being mindful of your thoughts is a complete game changer that nobody really talks about. Right? So learn to meditate. Learn to catch these thoughts in your head right before they happen. Because that is the whole idea of mindfulness. Because all of your sexual urges, they start with the thoughts in your head. You're stressed, you're bored. Something in you says, bro, log into that website and hit it. You're tired, you're stressed. The thoughts come this way. When you practice meditation and mindfulness, when the thoughts comes up in your head, guess what? You can be like, nah, I'm bigger than that. But even affirmations will definitely help you. When those thoughts come into your head, it's like, I'm bigger than that. I'm bigger than that. And sometimes, even knowing the side effects, or knowing how much damage, this is why some people, it's easier for people to change if they know how much they have lost due to sexual indiscipline. This is why a lot of guys, whenever people come to me and say, oh, I want to get rid of sexual indiscipline, I'm mostly about, okay, you know what have you lost? Tell me why you want to become it. When somebody tells me how much he has lost in terms of his relationship, because it will fuck up your relationship, it will fuck up your drive, it will fuck up your mental health. Whenever I know that somebody has lost something due to what sexual indiscipline, that is basically a client I like to work with, because most clients who have not really lost anything to sexual indiscipline, it's very difficult to convince them. Right? It's not so easy to convince them. It's not so easy to convince you if you're not lost something. But now, can you change? Yes, you can change, because I'm not entirely sure I had lost that much. Right? It's just for me to like self-improvement. I mean, realizing that the moment I began to work towards my goals and dreams, all these my vices became easy to overcome. That is why all of my videos is me telling you, bro, fucking be on a mission. Have goals you're working towards. Be on your purpose. Now, another tip is you have to get disciplined in every area of your life. It's not possible for you to get disciplined only in sex, right? And then you're forgetting to be disciplined in other areas of your life. So the more discipline you show in other areas of your life, the easier it is to actually get sexually disciplined, right? It's like trying to lose fat only in your belly. Bro, you have to lose fat everywhere in your body, right? Yes, you can make your abs under your belly fat stronger and larger, but for you to burn that fat, you have to burn fat everywhere in your body. So for discipline, learn to delay gratification. Stop eating junk food, right? Limit your junk. Okay, if you can't limit that, if you can't stop it, limit your junk food, right? Stop even social media scrolling, ironically, causes stress. And what that means is, see it, you get this dopamine hit from your instant gratification, right? Then a sudden crash, then you go back towards being sexually indisciplined. So it's a full cycle. So when you choose to get disciplined, where you say, you know what, I don't want to be this dopamine monkey. I don't want to be this dopamine filled rat. But instead, let me start. Let me start doing things in a way that benefits me towards my goals. Let me start being disciplined towards my goals. So what happens is you begin to create habits. Again, discipline comes down to your habits. What habits do you have that will make you disciplined? Right? So you can only know the habit you need when you have a goal you're working towards. Because I often see people who say, oh, I'm trying to fix my life, but I've tried all these habits. And I ask, okay, so why did you pick that habit? Because somebody said, I saw it on YouTube when a YouTuber said, you need to do these habits. I'm like, bro, that's not how self-improvement works. Self-improvement works with you have a goal you're working towards and you pick habits that solve your particular problem towards that goal. To some people, journaling does not add shit to their life, right? But that's why of all the habits, right, I don't see who meditation will not help. Somebody who understands meditation, you don't have to sit down for 20 minutes to meditate. You don't have to. But no matter the field you belong to, meditation and mindfulness will definitely help you there. That's why I mentioned that. So then, yeah, that's it basically, right? So one thing I would say is, the irony is the more disciplined you become, sexually or morally, the more attractive you are because most women, right, when I began to hang around women and I began to turn sex down, bro, it became very powerful. Because, bro, one thing I'll tell you is the more you turn down sex, the more attractive you are, the more women respect you. Because women will be like, Again, I say these things because I always tell you, bro, you cannot be my follower and you are playing games. No. You have to be genuinely disciplined. If a girl comes to your house, right, and even though she's your crush and you are disciplined, it's not every time you say yes. Genuinely speaking, it's not every time you say yes. And I can say this because when I have sex, I don't go 2 minutes. I don't go 3 minutes. That is why I made a video on how you can perform in the bedroom better than most men. It boils down to two things. For you as a beginner, if you want to increase your performance in the bedroom, you need lifestyle changes. You need cardio and meditation. If you practice cardio and meditation, I can guarantee you, brother, in a month, in 2 months to 3 months, you're going to have a way better performance in the bedroom. Cardio and meditation. So if I'm going 30 minutes in the bedroom, I'm going to let you, I go for both pleasures, for me and her. So what that means is I'm calculating, right? If I look at my body and feel like I don't have that strength, or I know that after this, I know that I have work to do if I have sex. Maybe at night I have some work to do by 4 a.m., 5 a.m. I'm not going to have sex. And trust me, women have respected me more for that, right? The women who will come to me and say, you know what? They know I won't touch them. Right? If they say no, I wouldn't beg for it. That's all this. And this is not me playing games, it's because I have a mission I'm working towards. My mission is to help as many men as possible, right? Begin to level up, begin to realize that, begin to find their purpose in life. That is why all of my videos tell you, bro, you need to be on your purpose. All of my videos tell you, brother, you need to level up in life. You need to take yourself, you need to make yourself a priority as now you are you're a fucking young man. So being sexually disciplined. Now you might say, oh, someone told, and I was talking to to somebody and he says, oh, it's easy for you to say because probably she was not your crush. I said, no, no. I've spoken to my crush. My crushes have been to my place. And guess what? I'm like, if I told you, if I have, again, principles, if I have work to do the next day or I have work to do in the evening and you're probably here in the daytime, nothing is going to happen, right? In short, we may even start foreplay, but if I say no, that is why that thing blows their mind. And it's not game I'm playing here. This is why I tell you, you cannot be with me and play games. No, it's not a gimmick I'm playing. It is me saying, bro, I'm good, right? I'm sexually disciplined. I don't need it, right? That is why I can tell you for a fact that even when I'm learning how to fight these days, it's me learning how to fight these days. One thing I'll say for sure is it's improving my focus. So when I don't have sex for a period, it improves my focus. Now, one thing I'll say is I also made a video a couple of weeks ago talking about how you should have as much sex as possible as a man. Now, the irony, it may sound like two conflicting ideas, but for most men, sexual discipline would only occur when you are capable to have access to sex. If you're somebody who doesn't have access to sex, it's like learning how to fight by only training. But when you get to a real fight, guess what happens? Everything leaves your head because you have never pressure tested your fight. Yeah, there are a lot of fighters who have trained for close to a decade. But when it comes to a real life fight, because their training was never pressure tested, they folded. And I don't want you to fold. I want you to have that sex. Just to realize that sex is actually overrated, right? Because when you know that sex is truly overrated, I can say that for me, but can I say that for you? When you know that sex is truly overrated, when somebody tells you he has 1,000 body counts, you'll be like, oh, good. It's not your business. You'll be like, I don't really think I want 1,000 body counts. If you really know that it's really overrated, if you really know that it's, that's why if you look at guys who really know what they are doing, somebody who is serious brags about body counts. They might mention it, but it's not a badge of honor. I can say that simply because I've gotten to that stage. But most guys, even though you're disciplined, even though you're on a mission, right? If you're not capable of making such a choice, such a statement, don't even brag about it. So, bro, that's it. My name is Tonoreye. If you like what you heard in this video, or the video resonated with you, I want you to share with a fellow brother who you know is struggling with sexual discipline because, bro, this shit is deep. It's a tool to control men these days, and I don't want to control it. So please, my mission in this life is to save as many men as possible, right? Help them. That's why I create free content. Even if you don't want to work with me as a coach, right? Feel free, hit me up in the comment section, right? And then, or hit me up on any of my private social media handles because YouTube doesn't have like a direct message function. Hit me up, and then if I'm free, why not? Jump on free calls. I jump on free calls sometimes on Sundays when I know that my Mondays are less busy. I can just like jump on a free call with whoever is available. So if you like what you're hearing, please share this video with somebody. Like I said, helping as many men as possible. Talk to you soon, and bye for now, brother.